All right, good morning and welcome to another episode of RoadFS Detail Memoirs. I'm Jody Sedrick, and every week we get together to meet with the movers and shakers, the detailers, and the suppliers and vendors in the detailing world. And my partner is?
I'm Rod Puzey, and every week Detail Memoirs is sponsored by Road Field Service, the longest standing detailing software on the market, and there's a reason for that. So thanks for joining us.
Yep, and we're really excited. We have probably some of the biggest names in the industry with us today. We have Chris Evans, author of Detailer's Dictionary, and former IDA president, Mr. Jonathan Munsell. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning. How's it going?
We're doing great, man. We are super excited to meet with you guys because this is kind of a unique version of RoadFS Detail Memoirs, because usually we kind of go into the history and how people came into the industry, but you're so well known. And what's exciting is you guys are on to a new venture together. And so, Jonathan, you've been named the new CEO of Pronto Wash, and Chris is going to be your right-hand man. So let's talk about that new venture with you guys.
Sure. It's been in the works for a bit. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Pronto Wash, but Pronto Wash it's a large established company. It's been around a long time. The Pronto Wash brand itself is in over 350 locations all across the world. And it really took steam in the past few years here in the United States. And I was reached out to by them at the end of last year. And they'd asked me to come and kind of consult for them and kind of give them an idea of where they can go and how they could improve their business. They had kind of plugged in with me on Detailer Insider Secrets. And when I was the president of the IDA, they were kind of just like taking it all in. And they kind of reached out to me and said, hey, if we took your system and applied it to our business, how would that work? And the difference between kind of what I give away with Detailer Insider Secrets compared to an organization like Pronto Wash, Pronto Wash has 17 locations. So it's not just an easy, just fold over. I mean, when you deal with 17 locations, there's a lot of different moving parts. So it wasn't as easy as just, drop my stuff in and they're good. But essentially that's what we're doing. We're really following the same exact playbook that I've been talking about for the past year, which is the simple plan, right? You don't need a big complex plan, and you need to focus on the pillars of what makes you successful. So people, operations, marketing, sales, management, and financials. And we're doing exactly that. So I've known Chris for a long time. And as I was putting this together, he had kind of hit me up and he said, hey, I'm here for you. If there's anything you need, let me know. So that happened on like a Thursday, and I said, hey, sit tight, but you'll be hearing from me very shortly. I got something big in the works. And I called him up the next day and I said, okay, are you ready to do this? He's like, hey, I'm ready to do whatever you need. I'm like, okay, you need to pack and you need to start moving towards Florida. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, literally, like pack a bag. You need to be in Florida on Monday. And that was on Friday. We met in Miami on Monday, and Chris took over all of the Southeast Florida. So he has 7 locations between Boca and Miami that he's responsible for.
Wow. So kind of explain to those folks out there that haven't heard of Pronto Wash exactly kind of what it is, what the services you guys offer, and kind of what makes you different than other folks.
So Pronto Wash it's different than what I'm probably known for. I'm probably most known for growing Spiffy. So we had built Spiffy. That was kind of my biggest project for the past, in this decade. I had spent working and building Spiffy, the largest mobile car care provider in the U.S. In the world, really. So the model is actually they're very different. They're similar in some ways. Pronto Wash operates from fixed sites. So in most cases, they operate in either mall locations or airport locations. So we have, Portland, San Francisco, Denver airports. In Tampa, we have 4 fixed site mall locations, 5 in Miami, 2 in Boca. So they've always operated from this base of a mall. where when we did Spiffy, we would go in and we would put the base, in the center of a city and operate from there. Well, when we were out in Los Angeles, we realized that that model is good, but to work from a centralized hub in a place like Los Angeles and try to get from, say, El Segundo up to North Hollywood, at 4:30 in the afternoon is just brutal. So we had the idea back then to have satellites, but we never actually implemented it. So then when the Pronto Wash opportunity came along and I saw what they were doing with these fixed sites around the city, I said, hey, why don't we keep the fixed sites, add mobile units to it? If anybody knows me most, I'm known for mobile operations. I said, add mobile units to each one of these. And basically, instead of having a hub and spoke model, we now have satellites around a city. We can get anywhere in 10, 15 minutes. So that's kind of the difference of them. But they're doing, we're doing services from an exterior wash all the way up to what we call a showroom detail, which is, compound polish, wax, paint correction. And we'll be adding this year, different paint correction processes as well as coatings.
Okay.
So we do the full range.
Automotive only? Do you guys, because of the locations you've mentioned, you guys doing marine as well?
We have some marine opportunity. We don't do a lot in it, but like I said, we're in Florida mostly. So the company is based out of Tampa. So, there's just a ton of boats. So we get called on to do boats. It's not a primary focus of ours today. And again, the world is slightly different today than it was a month ago, 2 months ago.
Just a little bit.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
So, marine is not a big part of our business today, but it's certainly a line item that we could expand upon exponentially.
Awesome.
So as you guys are moving forward, the one thing that you're really known for, Jonathan, is creating systems. And I think that's the one thing, people that are tuning in to us is the one lesson that I've gleaned from you over the short time that I've known you is you are really, really big on implementing a system that streamlines your process and makes you in that discipline. It enables you to be more profitable, and it also makes you more scalable. So let's talk about that. How do you see that? Not only in the Pronto Wash realm, that's a tongue twister. No, but also for the guys that are trying to scale their business to the next level.
Yeah, the core of anything that I do, and I've been doing this a long time in multiple different businesses that I've built, it's always systems is the foundation of what you do. So whether, when we'll use people as an example. So people, right? You have to hire, right? So there's a recruiting process. So you got to recruit, you have to screen those people. You then have to interview those people. And now we go to video. We use Zoom to interview people all the time. And then you're sorting them in or out. But all of that is a system. It is literally a checklist. It is a system. We can process things much quicker. That same system, when you look at scale, it doesn't matter if I have 10 job openings across the country. It's the same exact system. So right. Whether you're an individual detailer working in a single shop and you're looking to hire, or you're us and, when we kind of come back out of this current situation that we're in, we'll onboard 100 people in probably 30 days. That system is the exact same system that the single detailer would use. So that's just one example, but every single piece of your business needs to be systematized. So that's kind of the core. And Chris is seeing a lot of that now. Right now, Chris is spending a lot of time working on taking the systems that I've built and making them kind of Pronto Wash friendly. So Chris, talk a little bit about the systems as you go.
Yeah.
Well, like Jonathan says, scaling, if it's something small or something big, it really doesn't matter. And with these systems that I'm working with and working on now, the standard operating procedures, what and how we do in the vehicles, managers, employees, in every facet of the company, we're doing a revision and we're streamlining everything. And with the success systems techniques that we're using, it's just easy. It's so easy to get in and go directly to what you're looking for. You can find information at hand. There's guidelines, there's common industry practices. Jonathan spent a good amount of time building this, and it's one of the best things that I've seen, not just because of working for the company, but just the simple efficiencies and qualities in it is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's probably one of the reasons that, Chris, when we've talked to you, or Jonathan, when we've talked to you, that we kind of mesh, because, you're looking at it from the business standpoint and all of that. And then we've been looking at it for a number of years from the system standpoint of, processing the car and always having the same process that you go through. As a detailer, you usually go through that same thing. It's whether you start with the outside or you start with the inside, you open the trunk, you open the doors, you pull out the floor mats. Everything has a flow that you do through it. And I think that efficiency and that flow helps you get through it, either from like you said, Jonathan, the single person that's maybe doing one or two details a day, to where I've been in operations that are these mega online dealerships. They're going through 150 cars a day. You have to have a system. The car comes in, it's processed by this group. It goes through the basic wash. It gets inspected. It moves on to this. If there's paint touch up, it goes over here. I mean, you cannot just kind of haphazardly do that. And so we try to do the same thing with our systems, where how do we make a electronic system as efficient as possible to make sure that the car is processed and the information is gathered, so that at the back end of this, you can do analytics on that, and you can do it in a way that you can say, okay, this worked, this didn't work, this is making me money, this isn't making me money. And I always think it's interesting when we talk to a client that's had our system for over a year or so, and we look at it and we look back at the reporting, and they'll be like, well, I've got like 5 other services in there, but they don't show up here. And I'm like, that's because you haven't done them in a year. You might want to look at that. If you're not doing that, if you're not performing that service at all, maybe it's an add-on, and you add it to an existing service as an add-on instead of trying to offer it by itself.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. It's if the system is simple and the system is well defined, the biggest thing whenever I go into a new company, I always see it. There's always that person that, like, they know what the system is and there's a procedure in place, but they're always like, oh, but I do it this way. And the biggest thing with that, of the I do it this way guys, it breaks down a lot of other systems. So at any one of our locations, we can be processing, anywhere from 6 to 8 vehicles at a time. But if they're following the process, I can tell where every one of those cars is just by what they're doing and where they are on the vehicle. Right. And it allows us, sometimes you got to jump in and help. Well, if they're doing it their way and they're bouncing all over the place, you can't even jump in and help them efficiently. You get sucked into their mess. But if they're following our system and they go around, we call it a cyclone, they're going around the car and doing all the processes. I know exactly if they're vacuuming the passenger rear seating compartment, I know the next thing to do, and I can jump in and on the front and help that person, and we can continue to go. We're really big about one person per vehicle, per service. A lot of guys, when they have multiple hands, they have multiple people touching a vehicle. We find, when you process, tens of thousands of vehicles a year, we find that that's a single point of failure. For every time we have a customer complaint, we can always go back to a system and we say, well, how did that happen? How did we miss that, the windows on the passenger side? And it's the old, oh, well, he was over there and I was over here and I thought he got it, but he didn't get it. And you miss stuff. So one of the core functions of our system is a single person per vehicle per service.
Yeah, I don't think you can emphasize that enough. The best example I've got is in my younger days, and this is 100 years ago, I was a mechanic, ASE certified mechanic, and I had someone help me put the wheels and tires on a car, and 20 feet out of the shop, we lost a wheel. Oh. And it was because, I thought you did that one. And I'm like, no, you were on that side. And it was absolutely because I'm at that point, and I was 20s. I was like, that's it. I'm never letting a car roll out of here without me physically checking every single lug nut on that car. Because it's a nightmare when you see customers' car pull out, hey, thanks, have a nice day, boom, and the wheel
goes past them.
How much did that just cost us? So yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things, go ahead, Jonathan, you were about to say something, go ahead.
Yeah, so even just looking at systems, so it was kind of refreshing coming into Pronto Wash and seeing what they were doing and where they were. And some of the basic things, and God, I can't stress this enough, they have all these locations and they have really great people and hardworking folks, but they're all working actually too hard. They weren't using some of the things that, Chris and I know from the industry. They weren't even using compressed air at any of the locations, so we added air. We added air to all the mobile vehicles as we roll out. Right now we have 8 mobile vehicles in production, and the spec build on the truck compared to what they used to do, they had like 2 mobile vehicles when I got there. Now we have 10. In 2 months. So, just little things that you can do in the system and in the process to make lives easier. Even the employees are feeling the impact of just really good quality systems. They can process more faster, which means they can make more money. So.
Right. And that's one of the biggest things is if you cut down on the inefficiencies, and you look at it either way, it's either you're making something more efficient or you're cutting down on existing inefficiencies. You actually, it's surprising how much time you give someone. And it's crazy. We had a woman once that the husband-wife team, husband was a detailer, wife did all the books. And she literally sent Jody an email and she's like, thank you, you gave me my weekends back. And it's just that getting rid of inefficiencies that allowed them to actually come back as a couple. And instead of just being a business 24/7, they became, we work 9 to 5 and we're shut down on the weekends. We get to have our lives back again. And it was not just more efficient in the business, but they actually were able to process more cars because they're not fumbling around with paperwork. And what did you do on that car? I don't know. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And it's back to that same thing. If you start with the driver's side, if that's your cyclone system, you start with this side, you go here, you go here, you go here. Just as you said, if I'm on the driver's side rear, that's the last area that they're vacuuming out or whichever direction you go. And you can rely on that and you're not going to be doing rework. I watched a guy do the whole interior of a car once and then and it was a convertible, and then started polishing the outside. And I'm like, and he's about to redo the inside of the car. And he wasn't using some of the newer products where there's not a lot of dust that comes off. I mean, he slathered the stuff up and it just went. And I just was like, and the black interior is now speckled and it's over. You might as well start over. So it's those kind of things I think that are vital to this. So does Pronto Wash are they they're not a car wash. You're a full service detailing car, full service.
So it's hand car wash. It's all waterless.
Awesome.
Which is a change for me. And, I usually don't go on record with this, but I used to poo-poo waterless wash, just for the fact that you can't get as detailed, into some of the parts of the vehicle. But we've introduced some phenomenal things that allow us to do that. We actually use compressed air to actually spray the waterless wash, which allows us actually to do wheels, rims, tires, things that usually are the most difficult for waterless companies, the grill, all those different, kind of slashes and pieces. We have tools now that we can get in there as we're doing waterless, and we still expend no water. I mean, it takes about 16 ounces of water to do an entire vehicle. So, we're doing full hand car wash. And then again, one of the biggest things is just even bringing somebody like Chris in and his expertise and showing guys how to properly use equipment. Little things. I mean, Chris has a great background in just safety, just going into locations, him and I bopping around and just seeing just misses on OSHA things and things that people take for granted every day. So I think the whole process that we're going through right now is we kind of take this company that's been successful by itself and add improvements to it and little tweaks. We're not trying to change everything. There's a lot of great nuts and bolts there. And I think every company out there probably has some great things going on. So you keep the great stuff and, we're not changing things just for the sake of changing. We're changing to be more efficient. And one of the biggest things that happened, and it's the same process that I talk about, when I talk about following, how you develop and how you fix a company, the first thing I always talk about is financial management. You got to have good reporting. You got to know your numbers, daily at the very least, but, roll them up weekly. So that was one of the first things that I think changed everybody's world was when I use a thing called a financial summary, and it's super simple. It's sales, it's labor, it's writing a schedule, and then having your projected labor, what that looks like versus the labor from the day, from what actually happens in the paint, we call it. So I think little things like that have really changed. Even the managers at the locations, their mindset around what they do, how they do it, they can see it. We bonus everybody, so everybody's bonused off of profitability. So now they can see their numbers, they can manage them. They're not, the mushroom theory of management. You guys know how they grow mushrooms?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
They grow them in caves, right? They load in a bunch of horse shit, and then these mushrooms grow, and so we call it the mushroom theory of management. Keep them in the dark and feed them a lot of shit. But we don't do that. We're like the opposite of that. So we, every time I see that style of management, I cringe, because we find that being open and transparent, we have weekly calls like this on Zoom with the entire company across the country. They know every single thing we're doing as we do it. So it creates for a rapid change, not people just getting bits and pieces of wondering what's going on. They know what the global plan is. They know what we're working on. We've defined everything very clearly. So I tell everybody, if you're doing anything, the first thing you need to do is have goals, and you have to have a written plan. And, currently we're in the middle of, COVID-19 and the lockdown and all this kind of stuff. I tell everybody, there's no better time right now than to, I have a new thing called FYS, fix your shit. There's no better time than right now to actually fix your stuff. So, that was one of the things that when this happened, we didn't freak out at all. We looked at it as an opportunity. Before, it felt like we were driving down the road at 80 miles an hour and we're on the hood of the car trying to change the headlight. And we actually got to pull the car over, take a walk around it. So even though that, we've had a significant drop in revenue, it's actually, I think for everybody out there, this is the time you need to work in your business or on your business, not in your business. Right. So you don't have a buffer and a polisher to pick up. What can you be doing? So go and look at your systems and make sure they're good from every different part of your business, and then go and fix your digital footprint. The biggest thing I see in the detail world, every time I work with somebody, the first thing I do is I go look at their digital footprint, meaning their website, their marketing, how they have this stuff all connected. And for a lot of guys, they understand that they need to do it or they should do it, but they never have the time to do it. They're too busy running the business. So if you're out there and you're trying to think about what to do, go and look at your systems and procedures. Make sure that your digital footprint is connected as well as it can be. Your website's connected to your Facebook is connected to Google. And if you can loop all those things together, when we come out of this, you'll be in a great position to really hit the gas and go.
Oh yeah. And it's amazing, because when this first started happening, Jody and I were the same way. It's funny. We are really close on a lot of the things that you're saying. Jody and I have weekly projections, monthly projections, which of our employees is doing which project, what they're working on a daily basis. And we have 2 meetings. We have one at 9 o'clock in the morning and one at 3 o'clock in the morning. What are you going to do? What did you do? Yeah. And it's every single day with every employee. And that way we really keep tabs on it, and it keeps them accountable. I mean, they actually like it. They'll text me. If it's 9:01, I get a text message from one of my main developers. It's like, dude, we're already in the meeting. I mean, they like this accountability, because then if they need help, and in the software world, we're always raise your hand. Don't go off in the weeds for 2.5 hours. And how do I do this? Geez, I'll just go, woo, and then you're gone. It's like, raise your hand if you can't solve something. It's the same way in the automotive world. I mean, I see more people now reaching out and sending pictures going, hey guys, I got this boat issue. I got this thing. It's a non-shiny surface. It's got that porous. How do I clean it without taking the sand, and people reaching out and helping each other out. And I think that is really a key indicator of what we're going to see in the future. I think you're going to see I guess the bottom of the barrel, the lowest of the low end of the people that are in this industry are going to probably exit, because they won't be able to handle it. But people that are on the higher end, that have a more business mindset, like yourselves and what you guys are doing, that is where it's going to come together. I mean, we've watched this industry. I was talking to Rennie Doyle the other night. 2008 is the first time I went to the Mobile Tech Expo. And I was blown away. I'm like, this is out of control. This is the Wild West, and now we've seen a lot more people come together with a business mindset of working on the business. And how do I take my business from this level to this level? And systems and processes are the way to do that. I mean, a lot of people are good detailers. A lot of people are great detailers. And that's not enough anymore. It needs to be somebody that's a great detailer and they know how to run a business. They know how to take it from, you know, I've got 1 bay and I've got a helper part-time, to I've got 6 bays and I'm full-time. And we helped a guy. One of the most rewarding things for me was we took a customer of ours that had 1 bay and he had a part-time 2 helpers, and he wanted to expand, and we helped him expand the size of his shop to 3 times the size. He opened up a retail front product location selling products. He has multiple lines of business now, and he's taken on, I think it was 3 times the square footage in his shop. And he did that through the reports and through the numbers of the system. He came to us and said, I don't know how to put this together, which I take that as a very positive thing. Focus on what you're good at and ask for help other places. And so he asked me to help him, and it took us less than 3 days to put together all the numbers the bank wanted, put that out there. The bank looked at the reports, and they literally sent us back an email and said, that's perfect, and gave him the loan. And that to me is a success story, because you can now grow your business with the numbers. Like you said, the goals, they have to be measurable, and then you have to be able to show that you've met the goals and adjust as you go. You know, when COVID hit, everybody's goals changed. And if you didn't change your goals, if you didn't say, okay, we got new goals, then you're doing it wrong. You have to reassess, relook at those goals, replan. Like you said, look at your numbers. I preach to Jody all the time. I don't know if you saw the smiles when you said, look at the numbers every day, but I preach to Jody and the team every day. Where's the money going? Where's it coming in from? And how can we adjust the dials to get us to where we want to be? And you've got a 1-year plan, you got a 5-year plan, you got a 10-year plan, you've got all these things you put in place, and then you readjust and realign those along the way as new things come in.
So I have a question for both you guys. Yeah, and it's kind of unique, I think, to your leadership opportunity. Is most companies, I think, when I look at them, they're growing the business. You're actually coming in as a new authority, a new manager, and you're trying to bring in an augmented vision. You're not trying to replace, you're trying to build on the foundation that it's already been there. So what unique challenges from a leader's standpoint and perspective is that presenting to you guys as you're trying to come in as this new team to motivate, inspire, and get everybody behind your vision? Because I think that's really key. Whether you're a small guy or a big guy, how do you get people to rally around your vision for where you're trying to take them?
Jonathan, I'll go first if you don't mind. One of the things, honest to God, is it's mindset. You know, if a person has that, the aptitude and the mindset and the passion to feed their families, to learn something new, that's pretty much where it all starts. So getting familiar. I mean, when I first got down here, me and Jonathan were, you know, as he says, bopping around. We literally took time, you know, with some of the managers and spoke with them on a one-on-one basis, some of them together, just to get a sense and a feel of where they were, where they wanted to go, what their goals were, individually, not just within the company. So it all started with mindset. And from there, some of the systems and processes that we've been implementing has been phenomenally received. A lot of just the other day, training one of the managers on a few processes, his response was, I love this. I've never had this. You know, the little bit that I did get, it wasn't enough, and I didn't know how to ask. And I was so impressed by him that he was even able to admit that and to share it. That was so unbelievable to me. And what should have been a 20-minute training, it turned out to be 2 hours, almost 2 hours, because it was just questioned. He was attentive, he was hungry, and you seen that passion come out in him. And that was one of the first places that we both started with, was getting to know the people that we're working with, you know, and it wasn't a superiority thing of, you know, this is who we are, you know, it was a, you know, hey, we're here to help, we're here to grow. And of course, it takes a little bit of time and rapport and a few certain other things. But along the way, we're not talking about it, we're being about it. We're not telling, you know, our people, you know, this is what we're going to do. You know, they're seeing it. You know, they're seeing us jump in. They're seeing us answer the phone at 4:30 in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, with a question to them. It's like, hey, I'm asleep right now, but if it's important enough for you to call me at 2 in the morning, I'm going to answer this call and I'm going to sit up and I'm going to give you as best of my attention for 2 o'clock in the morning. But we are there and we answer our calls, we answer their questions, and we walk them through and we guide them in things that they don't understand. And what we're seeing is that there's more and more question asking, when even if they're unsure or uncertain, they definitely don't have a problem. They're not as reclusive as they were before. Now they're opening up, they're sharing, it's just unbelievable. But it all starts with mindset. We believe in them just as much as they believe in us. And that's kind of been the beginning of the rapport and the relationships that we've been developing within Pronto. And it's been working great. So that's what I have. I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan.
Yeah, we move pretty quickly. I have a background of really rapidly getting things done. So a lot less, we've told them everything we're going to do, but it's like Chris said, I'm from Missouri, it's the show me state, right? So it's, at the end of the day, not only are we talking about great stuff and making their lives easier and better and then making more money, we're implementing those things. So we put in a completely new centralized booking system that didn't exist before. So we have a whole new customer care team that is all centralized. So now anybody can get the assistance they need in a moment's notice. Things like that we've talked about it, but then we've done it very quickly. For me right now, the coming in on the management side is, I've been doing this my whole life. I come in, I have a very systematic process on how I introduce myself. And like Chris said, first thing we do is we go and meet everybody. We find out what they like and don't like. And then we find out the biggest things that people don't like and we eliminate them, right? We make it better, easier, faster. But the next big thing for us is really about growth. One of the biggest problems we have in our industry is there tends not to be a very good path for progress or growth potential for people inside of their career. And people really want that. So, as we go, even a detailer now, we're going to give them better training. We're going to be able to certify them. We're going to be able to give them a progress path where they can better themselves, they can better their own compensation, and we can grow. So right now, one of the weirdest things in the world, and, so when I come in, and I've done this in the past where, we've raised a lot of money to grow very rapidly and to grow very large. There's no difference. Right now, Pronto Wash, we are putting in the foundation of all the systems so we can ultimately grow very quickly. And there's a pretty simple formula to do it. It's about, going out and finding the people that you want to do business with, finding the customers that look just like your best existing customers today and go and find more of them. Right? That's the formula. Anybody can do it. Go back and look at the customers that you're serving the most of today and figure out what the commonalities are and then go find more of them. So we've done all that. We've analyzed a database of over 30,000 people. We know how to market to them. We know what they like. We know their interests. So right now it's really all been foundational. And right now we're in the process of kicking on what we call the sales system, which is about growth. So for us right now, you'd be amazingly surprised, but with the fluctuations in the stock market and with the uncertainty in the world, it's created a very unique opportunity for us. There's a lot of money that's sitting on the sidelines. We've been approached now by more investors and more franchisees looking to do something, with their money and to ultimately have their own businesses. So we actually have more demand to grow the business than we currently have the capacity to handle. So it's definitely an interesting world out there today for everybody.
Yeah,
that's super exciting, and it's just fun to see how the industry as a whole is expanding, and it's exploding on so many levels. We're seeing improvements with the mobile guys. We're seeing guys like you on the other side that are really trying to explode both the fixed location and combined mobile. And, it's just really fun, especially coming back from 2008, being at that first Mobile Tech Expo, going, man, this is a bunch of gypsies, right? And seeing the evolution of the industry as a whole. And so, we've been going at this for an amazing 45 minutes. It's fun to keep going these. So and kind of to wrap up, what are some nuggets that you would recommend people implement for their business, and how do they get in touch with you guys to either glean from your knowledge or, you know, get in touch with you guys as a customer?
So, I mean, the biggest thing that I'll tell everybody out there, and we've said it several times on this call. One is, if you don't have a written plan, now is the time to sit down and write one. You need to have goals that are realistic and measurable, and you need to start tracking on that. So at the very least, you need it could be a napkin, it can be anything, but you got to write it down. I talk to a lot of people that they have an idea and they probably have a great plan. They just don't write it down. There's a tremendous power in that pen hitting the paper and you getting those thoughts down that you can reference every single day. You know, and I'm a big fan of, you review your goals every single day, because that's what puts it in your brain, and it'll keep you from getting distracted on things that don't apply to your goals. So a written plan, I think, is the best thing you can do. But you got to be innovative right now and think about when we come out of this, or even now, what can you be doing to grow your business? And there's lots of ways. Everybody has opportunity to grow their business. So you got to make the plan and you got to put that in action. And then you got to start figuring out ways to be innovative and grow. Support your existing customers really, really well. Over communicate to them. I find as an industry, we don't communicate to our customers nearly enough. So communicate to those folks, and then you can leverage that for lots of things in the future. They can give you referrals, they can help you, they can give you reviews. So those are some of the basics that I see guys missing all the time. Chris, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, I guess I basically would revert back to my previous statement of mindset. If people have the right mindset in this scenario that we're dealing with this virus thing, I believe people will see this through. They will get through this. They will get past this. And I definitely will piggyback off of what Jonathan said as far as what can you do right now. I mean, you may not be in your shop, and I understand that everyone's situation is different. Some guys are small and some are bigger. I mean, but there are things that you can do, not just for your business, but for yourself individually. Are you really looking at your financials? How you budget, how you manage, how you market, customer service, what's the efficiencies, the systems that you have in place to be more efficient coming out of this. Those are the things that I would focus on right now. And also paint by numbers. I'm sharing this to the world that I'm a big paint by numbers guy. It is definitely a good distraction to take your mind off of things, for a little bit. But again, too, it's mindset, because as much and as long and as hard as me and Jonathan has been working, we still need that moment to decompress, whether it's, with speaking on the phone with someone or just tuning out to some music, watching a movie. It's mindset. At the end of the day, I believe that a lot of beginnings and successes in the epidemic of this thing is going to be mindset that's going to get people through. So that would be what I have for people right now.
Yeah. And I something that I picked up years and years ago at a business seminar that it's silly, but I've gleaned onto it for years and it really works is, when you've got a ton of stuff in front of you, we have a tendency to just kind of, where do I even start? And one of the things that's pulled me out of that is write down the 3 most important things that you can do in your life that day. It doesn't matter if it's business, personal, financial, kids, whatever. 3 things, write them down. And you find that you will kick through those 3 things and it will help pull you out of whatever kind of funk you're in. These are the 3 things I got to do. And you'll do those 3, and then you find yourself adding 3 more. Because now you've got those 3, and sometimes they're too big and you only get the first 2 and then the next one goes to the next day. But every single day I write down, and again, I agree with you, Jonathan, right here, you gotta, there's a power in doing that. Write it down and put down those 3 things. Jody and I have whiteboards all over everywhere, and every day we'll write those things down. And a lot of times they're the same thing. And get those 3 and focus on that. And also is take some downtime, like Chris said. You got to take some downtime. I don't care if it's staring at a wall. You go out and I'm going to open up here a little bit. Yesterday, I was actually thinking about detailing my lawnmower just to get myself outside.
I like it.
It's black. It's got scratches all over. I'm like, I could take this and just do something to get your mind off of this current situation, because this is overwhelming and you've got to pull yourself into something positive.
Mhm.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. So how do
agree.
guys get connected with you guys?
For me, the easiest thing to do is, last year I launched Detailer Insider Secrets when I was the president of the IDA.
Yeah.
And really it was my way of giving back to the industry, and it's all still active. It's all still live. So if you go to detailerinsidersecrets.com, there's a whole free resource section there. There's a whole goal setting workshop that I give away for free. So that's probably the best, easiest thing to do is just go there, you click on a button, you opt in, and it'll take you to a membership site. And a lot of the stuff that we've talked about today is there, and I give it away for free. So I encourage people to go that path. For me, you can always ring me up. It's Jonathan at Detailer Insider Secrets or Jonathan at ProntoWash.com. Either one of those, you can get to me very, very easily. Facebook.
Yeah, and for me, it's detailersdictionary.com. Hit the contact me button. I'll receive an email. And, again, you can hit me up on social media, Facebook, Instant Messenger. I'm fairly easy to contact. If you if you don't have my number, someone has it, and I don't have a problem with someone sharing my number. So if there's anything that I can help with, reach out. It's not a problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, we say that sincerely. I got to tell you, one of the things I know about Chris, and Chris knows about me, when we say that we're here to help, I've never not gotten on the phone and spent time with somebody that wanted to understand more, wanted some help, had some real questions. So as much as we're busy and we have a lot of things going on, I'm busy, but I'm organized and I can take time out, and I will help anybody at any time. Do not hesitate to pick up the phone and reach out.
That's awesome.
Perfect. Well,
Maybe
I
not
could
2 in the morning, but yes.
Call Chris at 2 in the morning.
I heard you said 2, Chris.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
not be calling you at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can guarantee.
Thank
that.
you so much for that.
But I
I
would love
genuinely
to.
appreciate
we can
that.
talk to you guys all day long. This is something where we're passionate about people, raising their business to that next level. And we could go all day long, but we do have to end at some point. But
well,
That's
guys, I
awesome.
appreciate you guys having us. I love what you guys do for the industry. You guys are rock stars. And I love tuning into all of your guys' shows. So anybody seeing this for the first time, absolutely tune into everything these guys put out. It is fantastic. And it's from the heart, I can tell. So I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We have a lot of fun. In fact, last week I was looking at the YouTube channel and I'm like, how many episodes have we done? And we actually busted over 75. And I'm like, wow, we've done that many. So yeah, it's a great time. We get to meet with guys like you that are impacting the industry. We want to thank you for joining us. And for those of you that are tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in every week. We do take the audio from this and I put it out on a podcast. So if you're on the road, you can listen to them and all of the past episodes. We have the YouTube channel and the Facebook Lives that we do every week. So thank you guys. Thank you for being our guests. And we will check you guys
anytime. Thank you guys.
Same bat channel just next week.
Awesome, guys. Thanks. Have a good one.
thanks
See
a
you
lot.
guys.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.